Okay, everybody, I am popping on here again because something happened when I was saving the video that I just did live. And those of you who missed it, I wanted to come back on and show you. So this is the Fun Fold project that I was doing for y'all tonight. So I wanted to show you, just give you a little recap of what I did. So I started with a piece of evening evergreen cardstock that is 8.5 inches by 11 inches. But we needed to cut it down. So it needs to be 11 by 5.5. So we are going to cut it right here at 5.5. We're going to save this piece because we're going to need it. Now, we need to score this piece to make our card base. So I want to move my cutting blade out of the way because we're going to score. So we're going to score it at 1 3/4. And we're going to move it down and score at 5.5. And then our last score is going to be at 9 3/4. Okay. Now, you'll notice this card has a belly band on it here. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Shannon. Our belly band using the Expressions in Ink paper. It is just gorgeous. Look at all these beautiful pieces. What's really cool is there is gold foil sort of mingled in on some of these pieces. Some of them are just plain, but some have the foil in there. Isn't that gorgeous? And this is my favorite piece right here. I just think all the different colors of green. It's got evening evergreen, just jade, and it's got pear pizzazz. Oh my goodness, mint macaron. There's so much you can do with that. So I'm going to cut a piece here. 3.5 by 5.25. So let me cut it right here at 3.5 and 5.25. Now I want some white to show on here so I can show you something that I did on the other one. So I'm going to make sure I get the part of this that I want. Okay, because you'll notice on this card I use that side, but on this card I use this side right here, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, now I also need a strip that's going to go right here. And that is going to be 1 by 5.25. So let's do the 1 inch right here. Okay, 1 inch by 5.25. And that's going to be my gold strip, but I'm also going to keep this piece because notice that's right here. It's the reverse. This is going to be 4 inches. So let me cut that while I'm cutting. Okay, and put that right there. Now I need this strip right here. So I'm going to come back in to my paper pack. And I'm going to grab that right here. And I need a piece that is 1.5 by 5.25. And I'm cutting all of these now because when I did it live, I had them all cut, but for some reason, it did not save when I was saving. So I wanted you guys to be able to see it live. Okay, now I need a piece for the inside that will be 4 by 5 1/4. This is going to go together really quickly, guys. So that's 4, and I'm going to do 5 1/4. I see my favorite village artiate, Chris Jones, just popped in. And Shannon, I hope your summer's going well. Shannon has her own business here in the DFW area called Blue Bike Cookies, and those cookies are phenomenal. And Chris lives in Albuquerque, and she is known on Instagram as the Village Artiate. She has vintage ephemera for sale, and you should check that out. All right, so here, let me take this off, and you can see it opened up here. So here's my piece that I've scored. We're going to fold this one back, this one in, and this one over. And that is going to provide the base of our card. Now, I want to score these so they lay down very flat. If you don't have a bone folder, you could easily just use a pencil. All right, so there we go. Now, we're going to take this white piece and we're going to just go ahead and put it on the inside of our card. I like to use this Tombow liquid glue. Of course, I buy it from Stampin' Up. But the reason is when you're putting down your card layers, if you kind of get it off a little bit and you need to ooch it, scooch it around, you have plenty of room. All right, now this piece is going to go right here. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my Bumblebee stamp pad, because you're going to just see how dreamy this looks next to the gold. It almost looks gold. So I'm going to stamp that best wishes right here. Look at that. Doesn't that look awesome with that gold? Now I'm going to put it down using my glue again. And when I stick it down here, again, you can move it. It's very forgiving. Sometimes when you use our seal, it is a very strong adhesive, and once you put it down, it's very hard to move. This will become strong, but until it dries in that first 10 seconds, you can move it around. Now our next layer is going to go right here. You could use this part if you want and stamp something else, but I'm going to use the colorful side. And you see, you don't have to use much of this at all. All right, so we're going to put this right on here. And this paper actually is a whole, it comes as part of a whole suite that has a stamp set, dies, and some beautiful gold ephemera. Now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to stick it on my other little panel right here. It's going to go right there. It also dries clear, so if you get a little too liberal and it squeezes out the end, don't worry, it'll come off very easily. Okay, now remember, here's the piece that I cut. I am going to get my belly band right here, and we're going to stick that down on the front. Okay, right here we go. Now, this little, I'm going to show you a fun little, it's not really a secret, but it's a trick. See this sentiment piece right there? So where I got that is from the June paper pumpkin kit, which coordinated with this suite. So now I'm going to come in using the art gallery stamp set is where I got these sentiments. There was the happy birthday, and now, or I'm sorry, I did the best wishes, and now I'm going to do the happy birthday, and I'm going to stamp it right here. And it's so small, I don't have to worry about using the mat, my piercing mat, to give it the cushion on the bottom. If you use a detailed stamp or it's really big, you will want to use that piercing mat. Okay, now let's slide that around. Get it where I want it. Okay, now here's the belly band, and we're going to just put a real thin line of our glue here. I'm going to use my silicone mat, so if any of it gets out there, it'll stick on the mat and it will dry and remove. So there's my belly band. Remember, there's the inside of my card. I've got my best wishes right here, and voila. Let me get this belly band down. And there it is. So now we've got this card, and I've got this card, and I've got this card. Aren't those cool? I just love that paper. Now, I want to give you one more tip before I go, and then I'm going to tell you those measurements again in case you're writing down. This is one of our stamp cases. You can purchase, I think 4 of them come together empty. This is one of our Memories and More packs. It's the hand-penned Memories and More. It's got the 4x6 cards, the stickers, the 3x4. Well, I figured out that I can just store it in here, and then I'll have all my pieces together. I can stick a label right in here, which I'm going to do afterwards, and then I'm going to stick something else right here, and I can stick it on my shelf. All right, so let me run through those measurements real quick. The card base was 11 by 5.5. It was scored at 1 3/4, 5.5, and 9 3/4. This designer series piece right here was 3.5 by 5.25. This piece right here was 1.5 by 5.25. This thin strip here was 1 by 5.25. Your piece on the inside where you can write is 4 by 5.25. Your band is a piece 9 by 1.25. It's scored at 2 1/8 by 6.5. This piece right here to go on the outside of the band is 1 inch by 4. And then this again was a paper pumpkin sentiment piece. You could really use any punch that you wanted. Now, if you're interested in any of the supplies I use, you can go to ambrown.stampinup.net. You can also go to stampmaven.com to sign up for my weekly newsletter, and you'll get a free PDF tutorial for an awesome project and some other free gifts along the way, and lots of crafting info. Well, thanks for popping in. If you watched this twice, thanks a whole bunch. But I wanted to make sure that people who missed it actually got to see it. Now, next week, I will be popping on and showing you some cool projects using the basic borders dies. I'll see you then.